Hello. I want this video to kind of serve as a correction to stuff that I've been talking about in many of my videos in which I cover anything gestural. In the past, I would talk about things like straight lines, S-curves, which could also go the other way around. They just kind of like fall into that shape. C-curves, which could be like any direction. Ellipses. So in a lot of my past videos, I would always try to summarize them up as that, and I kind of realized probably in a lot of my videos, I wouldn't just stick to those, and I think it makes sense because shapes in themselves are like gestural. Like you're not always like I think it's too difficult to really summarize many things into just that category because you run into so many edge cases. It's kind of like I feel like it would be trying to fill a box with something. Putting too much stuff in a box when the box is already overflowing and it doesn't make sense to use it. Because obviously, like all of these things just fall into the domain of a tool. Like sometimes you may use a shorter line. Straight line could be from a million different directions. S curves, you may decide to even take it a little bit more just because it's easier for you to do it rather than always trying to get it to follow S. Like, can you imagine how annoying it would be if you always tried to do that? I mean, I feel like it would even like take you out of the flow. Or maybe it would be the best for you. I guess you kind of have to like experiment a lot to kind of get in the flow for what's going to work best for you. And that's the whole thing about gesture. Like you won't I could explain it and I hope that it helps you understand it, but it's one of those things that you just have to put in a bunch of time to do. And it's really frustrating. Like that's the thing about a lot of drawing in which I don't always think it's good enough just to say it out loud. Like you have to practice it again and again and again and again just to get a sliver good at it. So please do keep that in mind as you go about drawing and trying to fit stuff in the gesture. Like C curves may follow, they could follow a bunch of different paths. Sometimes they may follow like weirder shapes, like kind of like a candy cane. They don't just have to be like the letter C. So please get that out of your head if it makes it if it kind of confuses you. Like they could always be modifications of the core shapes, just like that an ellipse could be elongated. It could be small. It could be more like a circle, even though it's an ellipse. It could be like even is what I'm trying to get at. Like it's not ellipsoid or it's just like I'm trying to make even ones. You can make them really thin. You can make them, I guess, even if you wanted to, you could represent like an ellipse as a line, because like in that case it would be so turned. Think of like a penny viewed from like the side. It would be like you may see some thickness to a penny, kind of like that, and you would kind of see like the ridging on it. I feel like you could also say partial ellipses are gestural. I mean, I feel like they are. I feel like gesture is just something that you grasp an idea of it the more you do it. But like I said, there goes the most important thing, that you have to do it again and again and again. And and even when you do that, there may be things you miss. So the other thing I want to talk about is like an egg, right? So like if we try to draw an egg, which I'm not going to get it right the first time, like, I think summarizing that as an ellipse, I think that's a bad idea because like eggs are like thinner at the top and kind of thicker at the bottom. So I believe it's so they don't roll out of nests, because like birds put their nests in a tree, and if the egg was like more like an oval or a circle, there's a good chance that it would like fall out of the nest and crack. which would be bad for birds, considering that would kill the baby bird. So the important thing to know is that you're going to run into shapes that do not really have a good answer. And I don't, like, I guess you could try to draw something like that and maybe add a steep curve to the end of it. Like, if that makes sense, it'd be a bit more pointy. You could do that if you think that that's the easiest thing for you to do. But time and time again, I keep thinking to myself that executing shapes themselves may be a bit easier. Now, I wanted to give an example of a bug. I'm going to show it off screen. It's a wasp. So, like, every time I think about this wasp, I see its head, which is kind of like triangular. And I think executing that in like a single shape is a lot better. And then I see its thorax, right? And yeah, its thorax is more like a what am I gonna call this thing? It's like an elongated ellipse. An oval. I forgot what an oval was in that period of time. I'm getting a bit tired. Or like an oval, and then you kind of have that's the thorax, and then you have the abdomen, which is like really weird shaped. Well, it's weird shaped because it has a stinger on the end of it, which really makes it difficult to draw. And I think executing that in one shape is a better way to go, in my opinion, for summarizing it. And then you have the antenna of the wasp, which kind of just goes out in those directions. And I summarize using, like, I think, I don't know why, but when I do that, I didn't think of it as a C curve or an S curve. I kind of thought of it as a straight line. I don't know why, just because of the way that it's angled. But now if you would have looked at its thorax, well, insects have 6 legs, so I wanted to add some attachment points to it. And in general, I like to kind of plot the general course of action that its legs are going. So I would just do that. And I kind of used like a longer S curve. I kind of used like an S curve and a C curve, and I kind of just powered through that, and I did it as one longer shape. Now, maybe people will advise against it, but I just found that to be the easiest way to do it. Who knows, maybe I'm making a mistake here, but I found that pretty easy. And then the next thing you have, well, I didn't draw all the other legs, but I want to sum it up for you. It's leg sections. They're kind of like these connecting bean shapes. I kind of drew those ovals too large. I should have made them smaller. But you have like a connecting bean shape, and it's kind of like the bean shape kind of has points where it kind of goes in a bit more. Why the wasp is like that, I do not know, but it's like I drew that shape in one go rather than trying to summarize it as like 2 C curves. Like I said, I just found it easier, and I think my brain kind of took a shortcut when I was doing that. So when I do videos in the future, I'm always going to try to place an emphasis on how I use a lot of shapes, and I'll kind of like skip using certain basic things, even though I talk about it in so many of my videos, and it kind of makes it a bit frustrating to me that I did that when I couldn't even see that I was perhaps ignoring some of them and kind of jumping. I guess that my brain was operating at a different level. I hope it's me just not making a mistake. But yeah, if you like this video, please like it. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. If you have a question, please ask in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.